All right, I'll take us to our next story. This one comes from NBC News, and they have a great map that we'll put up in the show notes and is also in our newsletter at nonprofitnewsfeed.com. But it highlights which states have introduced or passed anti DEI bills. DEI, of course, referring to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the backlash to DEI is increasing as it becomes demagogued, particularly in conservative and Republican political circles. More than 30 states have introduced bills to ban or limit DEI efforts during the current legislative session. This follows, of course, going back to the George Floyd and Black Lives Matter protest of 2020, which really centered DEI in corporate America, in nonprofit America, in higher education. These bills are really in a backlash to that, I would say. So states like Florida, Texas, and Utah have kind of led the charge here on implementing that legislation, prohibiting DEI funding in higher education and government, the state really leveraging the power it has over things like public schools and state schools to kind of push these agendas. Critics claim DEI promotes division. Supporters argue it's vital for societal progress. Color me a supporter of the importance of diversity and inclusion and listening to each other and not being racist. A lot of this comes amid racist dog whistles, in my opinion. But this is a major flashpoint in the American political landscape. Tons of public institutions, nonprofit institutions get caught up in these debates as well. You're seeing this in higher education. You see this in all sorts of public spaces. So, George, this map in particular really does show where efforts are taking place. And I wonder if you have any further thoughts on this.
When I look at the legal hooks that seem to land, and you can talk about, capital DEI and how as a term it has been loaded both by progressives and conservatives with things I think have drifted from the original purpose. The legal hook seems to be around quotas. And when quotas are implemented, you are actually in violation of the law for whatever. A diverse process is different than a rigid quota system. And so I would say for DEI practitioners and communicators out there, I would look at that very specifically in terms of how when DEI is implemented, you are careful to say a rigid quota versus a diverse process are not the same thing.
I think those are some important thoughts there.